Albuquerque police were moving full force in the first 48 hours after the murder of Scott Pierce. Scott's widow, Catherine, returned to the house they had shared to find more than a piece of her heart was missing. Quite a bit had been stolen now by that shadowy figure with a shotgun. It wasn't just the life of the man she'd married less than a week before. It was also the future they had planned together. But gone, too, was Catherine's camera, a gift from her husband, who had so loved photography.
Of all the things he could have taken, that was actually the best thing because it still had all my wedding pictures on it. I hope he saw the pictures. I hope it sunk in, what he just did.
Who had killed Scott Pierce was still an open question, but police thought they were zeroing in. Because remember, Catherine said the shadowy figure who'd come into the house in the middle of the night was looking for a man named Manny, who had lived in the house previously. When detectives found Manny, he said a co-worker named Jason Skaggs was the likely killer. When questioned, Skaggs denied any role in the murder and said he and his wife had been camping a couple of hours from Albuquerque on the night Scott Pierce was killed. But Detective Mike Fox soon broke down that alibi. And so, in the police interview room, he went after Skaggs with a new tactic. I mean, you're thinking that at that point that was Skaggs saying, "Where's Manny?"
Yeah, I'm saying, whatever part you played in this, a good guy was killed. And you got to feel bad about that. I mean, I got into that they'd been married a week, that they had just moved into the house. And if you're a good person, that has to weigh on you.
Whether Skaggs was a good person is debatable. Whether he cracked under the pressure is not. Soon he was singing like a canary.
I wanted Manny to get hurt. I wanted him, arms, legs, things that, he'd be hurt or it would take him a while to recover.
Skaggs said he wanted Manny hurt because Manny had slept with his wife. Skaggs admitted the home invasion was all about jealousy, but said he never wanted anyone dead. But Jason Skaggs also had a surprise for detectives.
I said, "You went in there with a shotgun?" He goes, "No, I didn't go in there. I had someone else go in there for me." And we're like, "What?"
Who did Skaggs say was his accomplice?
He said it was Clifton Bloomfield.
That name mean anything to you?
No, the name didn't ring a bell at all.
But it didn't take you long before you knew a lot about him.
Correct. This is a serious guy.
Serious and scary. Clifton Bloomfield was 39, an ex-con who'd done prison time in Arizona for robbery, kidnapping, and assault. After his release, he had moved to New Mexico, where he dabbled in acting. But Bloomfield's new career apparently wasn't working as well as his old one. He was soon arrested and pleaded no contest to a home invasion robbery. Bloomfield was now on probation for that crime, released from jail less than a year earlier. He'd been set free into the custody of a co-worker at a roofing company, a man named, you guessed it, Jason Skaggs. Clifton Bloomfield. He was the kind of guy you'd send into somebody's house to either beat them up or kill them.
Yes. And he physically met the description. He was also tall and slender.
When police searched Bloomfield's home, they found a black duffel bag containing a shotgun, bulletproof vest, and a mask. Also latex gloves, used, as police soon learned, by the killer who had dumped out Catherine Pierce's purse to try to make this murder look like a botched burglary. Detectives now believed Jason Skaggs was telling the truth. It had been Bloomfield behind the shotgun. His criminal history fit the crime. He'd been convicted of a violent home invasion robbery before. It wasn't long before police tracked down Bloomfield and arrested him. This is a guy who's done prison time. I would think this is a guy who's not going to talk.
I didn't think he would.
But maybe Bloomfield had seen those wedding pictures of Scott and Catherine on the camera he'd stolen. Had he also picked up a conscience somewhere on his journey? Because the hardened con surprised detectives by opening up.
I was a little shocked, but pleasantly shocked.
As police would soon learn, Clifton Bloomfield's version of the truth changed with the New Mexico wind. But among the several statements Bloomfield gave was an explanation for his mission that night, looking for Manny.
The plan is to kill him.
Okay.
if you're going to kill him, is Skaggs going to want to talk to him first, or are you going to take him somewhere?
No, he just had one message for him. He said, tell him his Anglo-Saxon mother said bye. Tie him up and give him the message. Okay. And put it around him.
But in the house that night, Bloomfield said he realized that the Manny he knew from work bore no resemblance to the 6'8" Hulk he found bearing down on him in the dark.
I can never think it's Manny.
That it wasn't Manny?
He was too big. He didn't stop coming at me. I put my hand out. It's like, oh man, that's so fast.
Did you intentionally fire or accidentally fire?
I know him. That's smart, I don't think.
He says he was about to leave when Scott Pierce charged him. True or not, the result was that Bloomfield put himself behind a murder as a favor to a friend. Except he killed the wrong man. This was all just spectacular bad luck. If you'd moved into that house a month later, would your life be different?
It would be very different.
If your husband were a sounder sleeper, if he hadn't woken up,
Things could have been different.
if the guy with the gun had left when he realized Manny didn't live in the house anymore.
Yeah, so many things. The wrong place at the wrong time.
Bloomfield and Skaggs were charged with murder. For Detective Mike Fox and his colleagues, it was a job well done. A case quickly solved. Scott Pierce is murdered early on a Saturday morning. And less than 48 hours later, you have all the suspects in custody and confessions.
Yes.
Good job.
Came together pretty well.
Case closed.
That's what we thought.
They were wrong. Catherine Pierce was about to learn that the shadowy figure she'd confronted that night was one of the most cold-blooded killers her part of the world had ever seen. And her involvement with him wasn't over.